If you're over 70 and flying in 2026, there's a very real chance you're leaving comfort, savings, and special treatment on the table, simply because airlines don't volunteer this information. There are quiet benefits, courtesy privileges, and behind-the-scenes options available to older travelers that rarely show up on websites or booking apps. These 12 lesser-known advantages can cut costs, reduce physical strain, and completely change how your flight feels from curb to cabin. If you're watching this for yourself, or for someone you care about who's over 70, this is information worth knowing. Because travel should get easier with experience, not harder with age. Let's start with boarding. George is 72 and flies from Chicago to Florida to see his grandchildren a few times a year. On his last trip, instead of waiting with the main boarding group, he walked up to the gate desk and politely asked whether seniors could board early. No proof. No paperwork. The agent smiled and invited him forward. He settled into his seat before the rush, found overhead space with no stress, and avoided the chaos entirely. What most people don't realize is that many airlines quietly allow courtesy boarding for older passengers, even when it's not advertised. It's not a published perk. It's a discretionary one. If you're respectful and ask calmly at the gate, chances are good you'll be allowed on early, especially if boarding time or overhead space is a concern. The key is asking in person. Now let's talk about something that sounds intimidating but often delivers the smoothest airport experience available. Joan is 75 and normally walks just fine, but airports are exhausting. Long corridors, standing in lines, rushing between terminals. Instead of pushing herself, she now requests wheelchair assistance when she books her flight. The result? She's met at the curb, guided past crowded areas, helped through security, and delivered calmly to her gate. What many travelers don't know is that requesting wheelchair support doesn't just help with mobility. It unlocks priority handling at multiple points in the airport. Security screening is often faster, boarding is earlier, staff assist every step of the way, and it costs nothing. This service is available on every major airline and isn't restricted to people who use wheelchairs daily. Fatigue, balance concerns, or stamina are valid reasons. There's also a TSA support program specifically designed to help travelers who may need extra patience or assistance during screening. Calling ahead allows them to prepare and guide you through with far less stress. Next, seating. Frank is 78 and prefers to fly midweek when planes are quieter. Instead of checking in on his phone, he goes to the airport counter. He smiles, chats briefly, and asks whether there's a seat with a little more room. On more than one occasion, he's been moved to a bulkhead or aisle seat at no extra cost. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. When flights aren't full, agents often have discretion to reassign seats. Older passengers are frequently prioritized, but only if the request is made in person. Apps don't ask questions. People do. Timing, tone, and flexibility make a difference. Now let's talk about traveling with someone else. Linda is 74 and needed to travel internationally for a medical appointment. Her daughter accompanied her. Instead of booking online, Linda called the airline directly and asked whether there were any companion accommodations available. To her surprise, her daughter's ticket was discounted. Many airlines quietly offer reduced fares for companions or caregivers traveling with older passengers, particularly on long-haul or medical-related trips. These fares don't appear online. They're applied manually. Calling instead of clicking can unlock them. There are also still age-based fare reductions floating around. They're just harder to find. James, 73, assumed senior airfare discounts were a thing of the past. But by calling the airline instead of using a booking site, he discovered a reduced rate on his domestic route. Some carriers still honor senior pricing on select flights. Others partner with membership organizations that unlock savings or perks. The important detail? These prices almost never show online. You have to speak to a human. Baggage is another area where older travelers often overpay. Harold travels with a medical device and used to worry it counted as a carry-on. It doesn't. Medical equipment flies free, doesn't count toward luggage limits, and is protected by airline policy. CPAP machines, mobility aids, and medical supplies are exempt, but only if they're identified as such. Some airlines even waive checked bag fees for medically necessary items, especially on longer trips. Calling ahead ensures everything is noted in your reservation. Now let's talk about waiting comfortably. Martha had a long layover and didn't want to sit in a noisy terminal for hours. Instead, she asked about lounge access. Because of her membership and age-based considerations, she was allowed in at a reduced cost. Comfortable seating, clean restrooms, quiet space, all for less than she expected. Certain lounges offer senior discounts or courtesy access during long delays. You won't know unless you ask at the desk. Security is another stress point that doesn't have to be. Clara dreaded standing in line at a busy airport. By contacting TSA's assistance program ahead of time, she was met by a support specialist who guided her through screening with patience and clarity. No rushing, no confusion. Flexibility is another quiet benefit. When Harris had to cancel a flight due to a health issue, he didn't click cancel in the app. He called, explained. The change fee was waived. Airlines often show leniency for older travelers dealing with medical situations, but only through direct conversation. Once on board, communication matters. Eleanor let the gate agent know she sometimes needs help lifting her bag. A flight attendant was ready before boarding even began. From bag assistance to extra check-ins, seniors who speak up early often receive attentive, respectful care throughout the flight. Even seat placement can quietly improve. Bill skipped online check-in and went to the counter. He asked about aisle seating. Within seconds, he was reassigned closer to the front. Many systems flag older travelers, but they don't act automatically. Human interaction triggers it. And finally, disruptions. When Mary's flight was delayed, she didn't wait in line. She approached the agent immediately, mentioned that she was an older traveler, and asked for help rebooking. She was accommodated quickly, with a better seat and a meal voucher. Airlines often prioritize seniors during irregular operations. Timing and politeness make the difference. The common thread in all of this is simple. Older travelers aren't excluded. They're just rarely informed. Booking directly, calling ahead, checking in at the desk, and speaking up respectfully unlocks benefits most people never realize exist. You've earned comfort. You've earned courtesy. And you don't have to fight for it. You just have to know it's there. If this helped you see flying differently, consider sharing it with someone who could use a smoother trip next time. And if staying ahead of quiet travel changes matters to you, this channel puts out updates regularly so you don't have to learn the hard way. Safe travels, wherever you're headed next.